Hello everyone, I'm Denise LaFrance Ojinaga, your guest host for this edition of Ask Though. We're here at Yonge Park, and I'm joined by Deputy Chief of the Fire Department, Jason Smith. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. So we're going to talk a little bit about the General Obligation Bond, which is also known as the GO Bond, something that the City of Las Cruces is looking into. Can you tell us exactly what that is?
So earlier this year, we started a process of gathering public input to form a general obligation bond ballot. So these are questions that will go to the voters this August, by August 21st, and it's asking the voters to approve spending money based off of property taxes on projects that'll benefit the city.
Okay, and so we're looking at roughly, it's $35.6 million in monies, correct?
Yes, so the total package, if all four projects are to pass, all four questions, would be $35.6 million of capital improvements that we would be spending here on the city.
Okay, so as you mentioned, there are four pretty much different components to the general obligation bond. Tell me, how did the city come to that point as to picking those four separate different areas to use the money for?
Starting in February this year, we started doing a lot of public outreach, trying to get our citizens to come to public meetings and give us ideas of what projects they would like to see. So we held over 6 of these meetings, and we had over 130 people show up. We had over 120 emails sent to us about ideas that our citizens wanted to see in the city. So we started to group those up into project themes and then identified projects that would fit into those. And we ended up with 4 questions that we're going to take to the voters this August. One is for park improvements and new parks.
Okay.
Another one for building a new animal shelter. A third one to replace Fire Station 3. And a fourth one to build walking and jogging trails throughout the city.
And so one of them, you know, as we're here at Yonge Park, one of those areas could be improvements here to the park. Can you give us a little bit of a general idea of what we would be looking at here?
That's correct. So under the park improvement and new park bond question, there are improvements for parks throughout the city, including Yonge Park, Desert Trails, Apodaca, Unidad. For here, we'd be looking at doing renovations on the sports courts, the tennis courts that are here, and then also some of the picnic facilities.
So these are some pretty good things. So tell us a little bit again, when does this election go out to the voters? You mentioned in August. Anything that the voters need to know?
Yes, well, under the new state rules on special election, it has to be a mail-in ballot, which will be handled by the county clerk. So you'll receive your ballot early in August. You need to have it back in and mailed by the 21st. There's still time to register to vote, so if you live within the City of Las Cruces and you're not a registered voter yet, you have until, I think, July 24th to see the county clerk's office at 845 North Motel and register. So this special election is only open to citizens and registered voters within the City of Las Cruces.
And so one important thing, you know, for people to know is that when you're borrowing money in the city sense like that, the city actually gets a much better rate than private entities when they're needing to borrow money. Is that correct?
That's correct. With the general obligation bond, because the way that the debt is secured through property taxes, it's usually the lowest interest rate that a municipality will pay on their debt. So that helps us to use more of that money to spend it for capital improvements.
And that's good for the voters too when we're talking about property taxes. You know, they get more of their money for it, and it's stuff for improvements that we all use.
It is, it's true. This is a big investment for our citizens to take on this bond if they approve it, and we want to make sure we show a return of that investment.
All right. Any other questions, anything anybody else can do if they need to get some more information on this?
Definitely, if they want more information, they can email us. You can email me directly at gobond@las-cruces.org, or you can see our website at CLC-bond.org.
And there's a lot of important information that's on there. As I printed out, everything that you need to know about all of the projects that are proposed are in there.
There is. All 4 bond questions are listed on that webpage, as well as some of the details that we're still developing for each of the projects.
So if the voters decide to vote yes for this bond, are they voting yes for every component of that, or are those all independent?
So these are all independent. The 4 general obligation bond questions are separate, so our voters get to vote yes or no for whichever project they would like to see.
Okay, very interesting information. Thank you, Jason, so much for joining us. And if you have any more questions, you can go to CLCbond.org and get more information on the GO bond election coming up in August. Thanks so much. I'm your host, Denise LaFrance.